Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Trade Secrets by Triple Tote. Here we learn people's secrets to success and how they got started with their idea and turned it into a business. Today I have a wonderful guest for you guys. He had a great idea, a unique idea. He pursued it, and things are working out great for him. His name is Neal Magdefrau. Hi, Neal.
How you doing?
Now, for the people that I'm introducing you to, my audience, your audience, could you explain what it is you do? You have a company called Emmitt. Explain what the company is, what it does, and then we'll get into your backstory.
Sure. So, EMIT actually stands for Electron Microscopy Innovative Technologies. So we're a technology company. It's a very niche company, but essentially what we do is we rent out portable scanning electron microscopes to the science community. And right now we're the only ones in the world that offer this as a service.
So basically, for people who need a little clarity, you guys are like the rental car service for microscopes. Though people can rent your microscopes on an as needed basis, get work done for grants, for universities, for organizations, and then return them without having to spend the full amount for the microscope. They save money on their project, but yet they still get the work done.
Yeah, that's right. So a typical microscope that we rent might cost upwards of $150,000 if you were going to purchase it. But we find that a lot of our customers only need the instrumentation for short spurts of time. So, for example, if you're going to rent from us for 1 week, we come and set the system up, we train you how to use it, and the cost for that is around $2,500. Wow. So it's very cost effective if you're not using it full time.
That just makes sense. Now let's go back to the beginning, though. Your background. You went to school. What school did you go to? What did you go for?
So I went to the University of Connecticut. I've got 3 degrees from there, all in material science and engineering. So I've got a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD. So my background is really in designing new materials, trying to understand how materials fail, and so especially in graduate school I used these types of microscopes very frequently to look at materials, either new materials or looking at fracture surfaces, measuring the chemistry of materials.
Now, did this idea come to you back in college or back when you did your PhD, or did it come to you afterward?
I had the idea for a while. These sort of tabletop portable electron microscopes are relatively new. They came out around 2008 time frame, and when they first came out, they were only used for imaging, and so they were being used for education. But after a few years, they actually started to add some capabilities to the systems, and now these microscopes will do pretty close to 99% of what a full-size electron microscope will do. So they've got the ability to do chemical analysis. There's an X-ray detector that can collect the information and spit out the chemistry of your material, and that really became the point where I knew I wanted to start this as a business, when those extra capabilities were added to this system.
So these electron microscopes, they're not just drilling down to see in large images of whether it be something in a petri dish or a sample. They also can decompose what something is made of and tell you in some length what it's composed of?
Yeah, so every time you hit a material with electrons, you essentially produce X-rays from that, and
Gotcha.
Those X-rays are characteristic of the atoms that are in the material, so you can actually collect those X-rays, and we have software that will collect those. And for example, if you're looking at a steel alloy, it'll tell you, you've got 82% iron, 14% chromium, 4% nickel.
Wow.
It'll actually, give you the composition down to about 1/10 of a weight percent.
Now, you came up with this idea, which is a great idea. Obviously, it's unique. You're the only one doing it. How long did it take you to go from having the idea to actually getting the oomph and the emotion to make it happen?
Well, I had the idea for a couple of years. what really, I guess, pushed me to move forward was obviously the capital cost of starting a business like this is pretty high. I was able to partner with the U.S. distributor for these microscopes that we rent out. They gave me a really good deal on a used system, and that was the first system that I bought. But it really was, my father was a small business owner. He's kind of the one that pushed me to just make a leap and go for it. I started this as a part-time business, and a lot of nights and weekends, and basically once I had that first system, things just started growing from there. I was able to get customers, and pretty soon we had even more demand, so we needed to buy a second microscope, and right now we have 3 systems, and essentially we ship them all over the U.S.
So who are your customers? If you're able to say, who have you been able to supply microscopes to so you can get work done? So
it ranges from, everything from biotech to materials companies that do fuel cell development. We've rented to companies like SpaceX, even life sciences, medical device companies. So there's a whole range of companies that use this type of equipment.
Now, me, myself, I'm a big Tesla fan, a big Elon Musk fan. Did you ship that one out there and they shipped it back, or were you able to get any interaction going on with the SpaceX thing?
Yeah, we shipped it down there. And the way our business model works is, and again, this is kind of unique because of my background. I have over 15 years of experience running these types of systems. So every time you rent from us, we actually go set the microscope up. I do this in person, personally, and I train the customers how to use the system. So we ship the system down to Cape Canaveral, and SpaceX there is basically located on the Air Force Base there at Cape Canaveral with NASA and a bunch of the other space companies, and we went and set the system up and trained them how to use it, so they were good to go.
That's pretty cool. That's super cool. When you had just one system, how did you manage customers? Because were you in like high demand where it's like, okay, this next customer wants a system for a project coming up, but my only one system is out somewhere else? Like, how did you manage the workflow?
Yeah, it was definitely that's a challenge, and it's still a challenge that we have now. We try to do the best to deliver systems to customers when they need them, but obviously, we're still small. We only have a few systems, and so there's a couple things that we've done to try to remedy that. The first thing is really just me communicating to customers the availability and when I think we will have systems available. The other thing that we've done is we've kind of incorporated into our standard rental agreement. We have a holding agreement, so if a customer knows that they want to rent a system in August of this year, they can fill out a holding agreement. They can put down a very small deposit, and that sort of holds that position for them, and we're guaranteeing that we'll have a microscope available for them in that time slot.
Now, at this time, how many machines do you have available for customers to use?
So we currently have one system available that could go out on a longer term rental right now. It's actually this one that's sitting right here. We also try to keep a system in our office facility here in Connecticut at all times. And the reason for that is we have a lot of local customers that come in frequently, and they'll come in even if they want to use a system just for a couple of hours. They can come in, I train them how to use it, and then you see it here. Customers coming in all the time. So they'll just come in, use the microscope, and then they can take their data and be on their way.
Now, one thing that you showed me off camera was that the machine has a lot of capabilities for clients that are not located near you, but they want to get tests done, they want to get images, or they want to get compositions done, and you actually have it set up so that you can get them the information right over the internet, right?
Yeah, so we can one nice thing about these Phenom systems that we rent is we can log in remotely to diagnose the microscope if anything goes wrong. We can also use that for doing customer demos. So fairly frequently we have a customer maybe on the West Coast and they're interested in renting, and they don't know really if the system will do what they need.
Yeah.
So we're always happy to do a free demo. So they'll send us one of their samples and we can stick it in there. We can give them a live demo. And they can see what I'm seeing on the screen, even if they're 3,000 miles away.
So when I opened up using my rental car analogy for how you rent out microscopes, that's the equivalent of the rental car company being able to take over the wheel of the rental car, get you where you're going, or give you a test drive without you even having to know how to get started. I think that's pretty cool that you're able to give customers assistance without even being with them, or they send you stuff that you can test and send them live updates or even a live filming of you catching images for them. That's super cool. You guys may hear a little bit of noise and feedback in the background. That's the fan from the microscopes. The one reason I even appreciate you doing this podcast with me is because we get to sit in your office. It gives me a different scenery, and people could get a taste of what it's like to be in your office doing the work you do for clients. That being said, what's next for Emmitt? Like, what's your next goal?
We're gonna continue to grow. So, again, this is still for me at this point in time. This is a part-time business, but we have continued to grow. I think we've grown 30 to 40% year over year since we've started the business. And the good thing about being a small business is we really can offer great customer service.
That's right.
So we're all about the customer, and you can check out our Google reviews. We've got great reviews on Google. We're going to continue to be small and nimble and be able to respond to customers' needs and get them equipment quickly and efficiently.
That's right. Now, I view entrepreneurship as a journey. When you're an entrepreneur, you meet other entrepreneurs. It could be also like a brotherhood. But what do you think has been the most valuable takeaway, besides the money, obviously, but the most valuable takeaway from just going through this experience of starting your business? Like, what do you like most about it?
I mean, I like the freedom of being able to make the decisions, the day-to-day decisions about where my business is going to go.
Yeah.
But I also have a huge appreciation for people that own their own businesses now, because I think you've seen stats. Most businesses, most new startup businesses fail before they ever hit 5 years. We're in our 5th year now, and we definitely will make it past this year.
That's good.
And continue on. But being a small business owner gives you an appreciation for how hard it is to actually run a successful business.
Oh, yeah.
It's challenging, and I have a new appreciation for people that are self-made, successful entrepreneurs.
Definitely, and that's the brotherhood part about it that I love, even connecting with you and other entrepreneurs and people that I'm able to get information from to share with the audience. I actually become, and actually a lot of them are already great friends of mine, so I love that part about it. For anybody out there who wants to learn more about what Emmitt is about, more about what you offer as services, where can they find you and contact you?
So probably the best way is to check out our webpage. So you can go to www.emitllc.com, or people can shoot me an email at Neal, Neal, at emitllc.com. So those would be the two easiest ways to find us. You can always find us on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. Awesome.
So I want to thank you again, Neal, for doing this episode of the podcast. I want to thank all the viewers out there, the listeners, and people that are reading this. And I'm going to continue to do my best to try to bring you the best content from different perspectives of really what it takes to bring an idea forth. And I look forward to talking to you all very soon.